Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the English version of my program, new program, Jirga with Jalil. It is an initiative which was started by my team on my website, soldierspeaks.org. We invited people to speak to us from Patriot Pearls, and the first guy, the most prominent guy actually, who came up for a first ever appearance on any talk show is Mr. Jalil Afridi, who's an international journalist, international very credible journalist. The entire journalistic community knows him very well. He does not require any introduction. He's a White House correspondent, Pentagon correspondent, and also State Department correspondent. Beside that, he's the owner of Frontier Post, was one of the most respected English newspaper in the world, originating from Pakistan. And before we start, let me give you a very personal insight. People talk to me, and people tell me that there is a kind of accent in my English speaking. Let me tell you something. As a fact, that I've got a British Pakistani family, so this accent is quite natural. It's not that I'm making it up. Whenever I speak in English, this is the kind of accent you're going to have to bear with. So please bear with me. That is what my military colleague also had to bear with. In fact, they loved it. In fact, my commanders loved it. That is the kind of thinking which is over there. But this is my natural accent I'm talking to in. Once again, we welcome Mr. Jalil Afridi. Mr. Jalil Afridi, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Rajaji. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be on your show.
Mr. Jalil, you asked me to name this show Mother and Motherland. You wanted to dedicate it to the mothers, and you give an introductory speech as well, introductory promo, I would say, for this program as well. And I think, if you allow me, let me just
I,
play that introductory
I
promo. Would you
think,
like me to play that?
no, I think let's leave it, man. Let's get to the,
All right.
let's right
All
dive
right.
into the deep stuff. Let's forget about
All
the
right.
promo. I made
All
that
right.
for you, just for your, whatever I could do is, videos were never my thing. So it was just a little contribution to your work if I could add any beauty to it. But, it's okay. No need for it. You know what I mean?
All right, so Jalil bhai, tell me that why this moral degradation in the Pakistani culture and Pakistani governance system has been witnessed in last 16 months or so, in which the state security forces are invading the privacy and the houses of activists, workers. We're supporting Imran Khan predominantly, and they're not even sparing the mothers and sisters of those activists, and they're ridiculing them. They're dehumanizing them, and there's a gross human rights violation issue going on right now in Pakistan, in which mothers are affected as well. And this is what you wanted to talk upon. So, what do you have to say about it? Why we are facing this problem in Pakistan right now?
Yes, thank you very much, Rajaji. First of all, I want to tell your viewers that this show has been arranged on my request because I, as a journalist, as a colleague, as a well-wisher from Pakistan, and have been a viewer of your shows for a while, and then keeping an eye on the political things happening in Pakistan. I'm the one who requested you this show, and the reason why I wanted to dedicate this to the mothers was because in my 25 years of journalism globally, I have not seen such pathetic situation that the mothers of Pakistan are facing right now. The video of your mother screaming at somebody from the door, the sisters of Imran Khan not being able to meet him, you know, uh, former ministers, police official dragging the mother, women being dragged by their hair. I have personally, in 25 years of journalism, have not witnessed these things. I personally want to apologize to these mothers on behalf of all their whatever sort of kids you want to name them, on behalf of them, on behalf of every Pakistani, the way we have disgraced these mothers since last 1 year, the way we have made them worried since last 1 year. This is not something that is part of our culture. That is not something that is part of our values. That is not a part of our religion either. So I wanted to just have this discussion with you and like discuss with you and apologize to your mom. And apologize to your mom that I'm sorry, mom, that because of Adil Raja and because of the other Pakistanis and everybody else, I don't care whether it was during Shehbaz Sharif days as prime minister, this incident happened, whether it happened General Bajwa's days, or whoever it was, or Rana Salaullah, or this current interior minister, in whoever days, I don't remember it. And whenever it happened, but just the way your mother was screaming, it made me very uncomfortable. It made me very sad, and it made me ashamed. As a Pakistani, I faced dozens of journalists here. Is this the kind of image we want to give to the world about ourselves? Is this what we are? Like, I mean, we have turning, like in the past, people, okay, those people who were anti-Pakistan, they used to call us, Talibans and extremists. And what's the term for guys who don't respect each other's moms and does things like this to them? Is there a term for that? So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And this is I wanted to dedicate this show to your mom and my mom and to all the other Pakistani moms. That
Yeah, about talking about your mother, Jalil Bhai, why you haven't been able to, in your promo video, you said that you haven't been able to meet her for last 8 years now. Why you have not been able to meet her for 8 years?
So as I said in the promo, I went to high school, college here. I lived in Pakistan for many years, and then I came back here in 2016. Then I had encephalitis here, so not able to travel because the air sockets in the planes, it puts pressure, reading puts pressure on my eyes. I'm the first handicapped White House correspondent. For 8 months, I didn't sit on the normal chairs of journalists because Karine was telling me that she would only give me a chance to ask a question if I sat in those seats. I told her, I said, listen, I'm a Pathan. Ghairat is the only thing, and integrity is the only thing I have to offer. So the White House Correspondents Association gave me a stool to sit on the side, but she was not giving me a question to ask. But she says that she didn't know I was handicapped, But anyway, hard feelings gone. Whatever is the reason, I mean that's still a personal matter. But just official capacity, I would like to compare my situation with the thousands of Afghan situation and with in general the immigration system around the world, including the U.S., UK. We recently had an incident of hundreds of people sinking, just sinking in the ocean. Why has my mom not gotten a visa? Like, what is the criteria of these Western countries, or the immigration authorities around the world? And I said the same thing to the secretary who showed up at the State Department. I told her, I said, listen, ma'am, a female national hockey player, she drowned while to leave the country. So nobody does these things out of love or anything, whoever is. But is there a vetting process for the second party as well? Like the guys that give the visas? Like, is there? And I never said these things officially, by the way, either to the State Department. That was just a promo that, like, for mothers, like, I don't know how much I can't tell you how much I miss my mother, but I'm sure mothers feel the same for their children, right? Like, so, like, wow, my sister comes here, she gets a visa, everybody else gets a visa. Why not my mother? Like, what criteria is that? So anyway, that was just a little story of some personal, but I never mentioned these things on official level. I never complain about it on official level. But yes, I do question about the process. I do question about the way it's done. Because listen, these countries also have a right who they want to let in, right? They want to let doctors in, they want to let engineers in, they want to let IT guys in. That's their choice. So, every country, the ones that is developing, they have
So,
certain visa.
Jalil Bhai, about the policy of these countries, a tough question. Please don't mind me asking this. Why do the American administration, since you're covering the Pentagon, you're covering state office, the White House. I mean, you're covering everybody there. You've got all kind of security clearances as well. Why the American administration, American policymakers find it convenient to deal with the Pakistani generals instead of a democratically elected government?
You
Is
are
it a fair
absolutely
question?
right. You are absolutely right about that. Just to connect the same question with some of the recent happenings in Pakistan, you are absolutely right. Here in these countries, look, they have politicians as well, right? Just like we do. The difference is here they have a system in which they have to move around. They don't give them just open hand to do whatever they want. They don't give them a hand to go and humiliate somebody's mother just for whatever their sister did or whatever their son political guy did. They have rules, they have the system, they have the legal system, and they built it through years of hard work, you know. So they have the system which keeps these politicians in their own boxes to play around with. To connect it with the recent scenario of what you are talking about, you're absolutely right. I think just because of this recent cipher scenario and how Matt Miller was laughing at me, it's like, Jalil, one of these days I have to hold a banner in my hand saying that we didn't overthrow Imran Khan government. And then, Intercept publishes a story. And then he goes, yeah, we were pretty upset at Pakistan. Imran Khan went to Russia and Imran Khan. But guess what? In my personal opinion, I think it was President Biden. I think it was his administration. I think it is I think it's President Biden or Secretary Blinken who did not like either Imran Khan's face or his handsomeness, because could be either one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people have their own choice here, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they didn't like him, or they didn't like him because of his past, NATO stoppage for a few months when he was in the government and the US drone by mistake had, what was it called, friendly fires, where Pakistani military officials were, like, I don't know how many were killed. And then Imran Khan had put a blockage. So that whole story, they call him Taliban Khan and this and that. I don't know if they have not seen his pictures on the beach with some beautiful ladies, but they call him Taliban Khan. So I think it's President Biden. I think his
Convenient.
administration.
It's politically convenient to call him that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think they're going to get in trouble for it too. I sincerely believe that President Biden is going to get in trouble because of this whole cipher thing now, especially when they have officially accepted it as well.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think Imran Khan's government, if
So
it was
who leaked the cipher, Jalil bhai? Who leaked the cipher in your opinion? Was it the U.S. government,
very
or as
interesting
also
question.
the Intercept claimed there was a senior military officer? So who do you think leaked the cipher?
I have no idea. I can give you my opinion. I don't know who did it, but I'll give you my opinion and my journalistic opinion. First of all, Intercept is not the kind of paper when I wake up in the morning or when I'm in the toilet reading it. It's not one of those paper, right? Just like we all
Okay.
have our favorite papers, right? We read them or watch them, Just
Yeah,
like your
yeah,
show, you don't know where your show is shown. I mean, who is watching your show in which condition, right?
yeah.
Maybe they're working, they're in bed, they're this, you know what I mean? I don't think that Intercept is in that category of newspapers. Okay, it is read by very niche people, maybe in the intelligentsia, because I do like to read publications, analytics, and back end and consumer habits and stuff. Somebody planted, in my opinion, that letter through Intercept. I personally think it was done from here. I do not think what they're saying that, we got it from some Pakistani senior military official and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't buy that story personally. I think it was planted. I think it was planted by those who wanted to expose President Biden's weak judgment as a president, and his health issues. I don't know if you're aware of it. I mean, he is facing a lot of.
Everybody knows, but do you think this issue is such a big issue that it could actually create some huge kind of trouble for
Yes,
President Biden?
sir. Yes, sir. If in my opinion, if for months, I mean, I'm not a crazy guy to be bothering Matthew Miller, or my dear friend Vedant Patel, continuously about, like, and I was asking general question. I did not, like, I'm not on Imran Khan's agenda. I did not meet him during his power days. I have no contact with him. It is just my personal and my country's and my journalistic duty to highlight those things. I, I personally think that President Biden made a wrong decision, and I think there are people in this country, there are institute in this country. I think they're looking at it with very dubious eyes because Rajaji, don't forget, Pakistan is a 200 million population with millions of them sitting in the US, UK, Canada, and millions of dollars involved too, So it's not just like you have to look at the whole, and then you have Afghanistan next door as well, So I think it goes beyond that conversation of even just like, yes, it could definitely get him. In my opinion, he could definitely get in serious trouble in coming days because of this cipher. This is, yes, my personal opinion. Yeah.
Well, personally, I think our English program is much more liked right now. Our audience is growing, and the comments are very positive. I think our English program is much better than the Urdu program moving forward. Do you think, Jalil Bhai, this entire cipher issue will definitely create? It can become a big headache for the President Joe Biden. That's why it's been leaked. I mean, it was not a news for the rest of the world of the cipher issue, but it became a news after the Intercept story in the U.S. So it is definitely by design. There are opposing powers at play there. Different power centers are at play. Unlike Pakistan, where there is only one power center, in the U.S. there are different power centers. Now, if Trump somehow manages to come into power next year, do you think that is going to be in any way useful for Imran Khan?
This question reminds me of something I was watching this morning, which was pretty funny. So, Tazaz Ehsan, one of the top leaders of People's Party and a senior lawyer, he was saying that people in Pakistan Muslim League are waiting for Justice Isa, just like in Christianity, the Christians are waiting for Hazrat Isa. He's our very dear prophet, but to them it's God, right?
Yeah,
And I studied Bible 101, 102, 103 at Pepperdine University, so I know a little bit about that too. So, when I have to explain sometime my kid's name, even, the Yusuf, I tell them, he is Joseph, technically he is Joseph, but for now he's Yusuf, okay?
yeah, yeah.
So they're
I do
waiting
the
for
same. I do the same about my eldest son's name. His name is Isa, but I have to tell his friends, he's named after, so he's a our prophet as well. Yeah. So,
Oh my God, the poor little kid. Oh my God, you can get in serious trouble because of that.
yeah,
A lady could come
yeah,
to you and say, "Listen, Mr. Rod, I didn't know God was gonna appear today." Like, what are you
yeah.
doing? You didn't even
So,
give me time to write
is
my
Trump
property.
is Trump good for Imran Khan then?
I'm sorry.
Is Trump gonna work for Imran Khan? Or is going to be
So
good for
that's
Imran
what I
Khan?
was saying, basically, that you're this waiting for Trump kind of reminds me of the PML waiting for Justice Isa. That's what I was trying to say. You see,
Just
this
classify as
whole
Isa.
this
All
whole
right.
concept this whole concept doesn't connect with each other, because again I would come to the institutes and the way these countries have built their systems. um, Raja, like, look right now where I'm sitting, and this has been my office since Corona. You have Washington Monument there. You have, the president, the first president's monument here. You have Pentagon over there, and you have Arlington Cemetery over there, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have these people have given respect to their history. And look at how people are just. I don't know if you can see in your camera, but this is it, right? You have Lincoln
Yeah, yeah.
Memorial, Washington Monument, Pentagon, and Arlington Cemetery.
All right.
Arlington Cemetery, people wait to be buried for months, okay? But anyway, coming
Mm-hmm.
to the point, these institutes run the country, okay? It's not Trump that's going to win and then something is going to happen for Imran Khan. Yes, the
Mm-hmm.
presidents do have their majority role, but the president is moved through the Capitol Hill, which is just look right across from there.
Yeah,
So Capitol is there. Can you see my fingers? There. And then White House
yeah,
this way, and then
yeah.
Pentagon that way.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So you have, and by the way, Supreme Court is then again straight just over there.
All
The
right.
only difference here is, look, in Islamabad, we have the same thing, right? The Supreme Court is there, the president is there, the parliament is there, right?
Yeah.
But they don't function, right? They don't function. So, right, the system is not there. The people who are functioning there are not running it that way. Here, I don't think they need to wait for Trump. I think if they catch anything illegal in any documents with regard to any president, they will catch him.
Mm-hmm. All
If
right.
this was, for example, done in a meeting, just I'm giving you an example where, maybe the Congress Foreign Relations Committee, raises a whole bill that, hey, we want to know, like, not just Donald Lu went to Islamabad embassy, Pakistan embassy and met the ambassador there. We want to know, or he came over there and met him and had a cup of tea and ha ha ha. We want to see the notes. We want to see the timings. We want to see the telephone calls before that. Who was sitting there? What happened? How it happened? What were the meetings points discussed? Why was it? Why was President Biden upset, or why was Secretary Blinken upset that Imran Khan went to Russia? Did he really go by his own decision? Was it planned? Did everybody agree on it? You know what I mean? Like, if they catch him anywhere, the Capitol Hill people, like, to me, watching the Capitol Hill and some of watching their hearings has been one of the most impressive things I've seen here. I mean, of course, Matthew Miller and Karine are just like Fawad Chaudhry and just a lot more transparent, a lot more professional. But again, they're associates of the politicians. But Capitol Hill is what runs the political scene of the country, right? They have committees for everything: Defense Committee, Foreign Relations Committee, IT Committee, this committee, that committee. And guess what? They work amazing. If you hear one of their hearing, Rajabai, you will go amazed. The amount of questions they ask, the way they ask, it's complete. To cut it short, if they find anything wrong against President Biden for doing anything illegal or anything against the national interest of this country, they will get him. And they will get him at this age even. They were not going to care that either his platelet level is down or up or left or right. They will catch him. They'll put him in, just like they've done it in the past with their president. So their president don't dare to do something, but just the answer to your question, that yes, they're not going to wait for Trump.
All right, Jalil, my next question is that there is no doubt whatsoever left right now that Imran Khan's government was thrown through a regime change operation. I was listening to Professor Jeffrey Sachs the other day, a couple of days ago, and he said that there is, by the way, an established history of regime change operations by the U.S. around the world, and there are books been written about it. So it's not a debatable point that U.S. carries out a regime change operation, but the result of those regime change operations have always been disastrous. The human results and the human casualties, human misery, and economically as well, they've never been good. They've created anti-American sentiment around the world, these regime change operations. Even then, they continue to keep on doing these regime change operations. Do you think there's a realization in Washington that this regime change operations are really not working for the American policy anymore, or they're not beneficial for the American policy? So,
absolutely right. One of the questions that I personally raise on a personal level and official level is the fact is the Pakistanis connected to this country and the way they are connected and emotionally, financially, and all those aspects of it. So beside the political part, like, those are some of the things that I personally, because I grew up since age 15 here, right? So I have friends who, I've known now for 35 some years or 30 some years, right? So yes, I totally agree with you on that point that the relations of the two countries depend a lot on a lot of things. But you have asked multiple things in one question, so it's hard for me. But just one thing I know you talked about is the regime changes in countries, right? So first of all, I don't think in recent history too many has happened. But you can say that in this century, Imran Khan's regime change is the most prominent one with the most people affected. One of the things which I asked Mr. John Kirby, and you can see it in my old stories in the Frontier Post, 6 months ago, I said, Mr. Kirby, do you know where Pakistan is going? Is anybody paying attention to it even? And he says, we want to see a stable Pakistan, just like our information ministers say, right? But just in a more professional, legal, and all those ways. So, yes, they do that. And guess what? You will do it too. Once you become this powerful, and when I become this powerful, I will do it too, and you'll do it too. You don't think Exxon and McDonald's and Coca-Cola and these guys don't do it for their interest? They don't change ministers and their things. They change it. My God, they change it very easily, by the way, and even in the corporate world, right? But yes, in the latest examples, this is was a proper case, and that is what I'm saying. Regime change is not something which these countries appreciate either, because why do you need to do it? And then, especially, why do you need to do it with a leader who is a public figure? I have raised multiple times this question in State Department that listen, I have no problem with whatever you guys do, but I have problem when you are telling me that this corrupt guy I'm going to deal with the same way I'm going to deal with this guy who makes billions of dollars from this country, which I am representing. So this is a problem, I think. This is where foreign relations and I think decision makers, and that is something I think which is going to create further problems. And I think it's just the beginning. I feel like, things are not going the way. And the sad part is nobody cares unless Pakistan and Pakistani people and Pakistani regime, Pakistani politician, Pakistani bureaucracy, Pakistani judiciary and military, unless they don't realize that, listen, this is our home we need to take care of. Nobody's going to come from outside and going to fix it. Just like in Pashto, we say that the blind man knows his home better than anybody else. और उर्दू अंधे को अपने घर का सबसे अच्छा पता है. या स्पेनिश में जैसे बोलते हैं कि la señor con no ojos sabe su casa la mejor. या पंजाबी में जिस तरह कहते नहीं है कि अंधे नो अपने कार दा सब तो चंगा पता होंदा है. So we need to realize as Pakistanis this thing. If this is not going to happen, Rajaji, I'm extremely worried about two things. I'm worried about democracy and I'm worried about the economic situation of Pakistan. And I'm worried much more than, and I'm worried about Imran Khan's life as well. And I've mentioned that in the briefings as well. And I've mentioned that in my writings as well. Sometimes people, you don't have some plans, but other people's use it, Then in Pakistan to create such dramas is very easily. Just a few million, you throw it, and boom, things are done.
So you're saying that somebody pays to kill Imran Khan, that will be definitely break chaos, instability, further instability, and it'll be a question of survival for Pakistan then. And if something happens to Imran
we are
Khan,
at that stage, my
does
friend.
does that make Imran Khan the center of gravity of Pakistan?
It doesn't make it. Listen, Imran Khan is not gonna be the center of gravity just because of you and me. He is the center of gravity, my friend. It's not. As I told you, he's not. I'm not. I'm not his, like, you know what I mean. I'm not in his payroll. I swear. Just like I say in one of my other businesses, where I'm a contractor, and when customer is with me, right, when I'm showing him properties and stuff, I tell him, I'm like, listen, I swear they don't pay me to say this. So listen, I swear he doesn't pay me to say this. I know he pays lots of other people and lots of other companies, and he knows the international scene better than you and I, man. He used to be with some of the most beautiful ladies in these countries where me and you are sitting now. He was sitting there at the age of God knows what. One of the questions.
He's got a past like we all got a past.
One of the, on a lighter, funny note, by the way, when Imran Khan came here to meet Donald Trump. So just sitting at the press club here, these guys were discussing about, what to ask him, the U.S. journalists here, like what should be the questions, what should be this, what should be that, right?
Yeah.
So I heard somebody say this and I said, hey, listen, I've got a good question for you. They're like, what? I'm like, you should ask them both. Who do you think, after reading each other's profile, who do you think amongst you guys who have dated the most beautiful ladies? Maybe that's me. That should be one of the questions to be asked both of these gentlemen, because Imran Khan did those in those days. But listen, the guy has a character in Pakistan. The guy has built the image of Pakistan. When I went to Capitol Hill Arena to watch that speech of him, the number of people I saw him, in my 35 years, I never saw Pakistanis get together like this, celebrate like this, Yes, I do not agree with his speeches there, but to ask me, is he a popular Pakistani leader? He is the most Pakistani. He is the most popular Pakistani leader. He is the most popular popular brand you have to sell outside. And if you don't protect him, he is lethal enough to create chaos to the extent what Mr. Etazaz Hassan, one of our prominent lawyer in this country, stalwart of People's Party, friend of Benazir Bhutto, he has said it this morning. I heard it. He said, listen, guys, the games you guys are playing, this can shatter the very fabric of this country, which means forget about anarchy. This can destroy our country. Like, this is not the joking time anymore. That's why I chose this title, bring all of at least your readers understand I'm not doing it for publicity. I'm doing this as a Pakistani, as a love for my country. I don't agree with gazillions of your things as a journalist, right? And as I told you in my other request in Urdu show, right? Journalism is not to the extent where we take so much risks on ourselves for these politicians or for these guys to put our kids, our family at risk. To see Jamal Khashoggi's wife calling me a poor Afridi about some issue, like, it hurted me. Yes, it made me proud to see that, look, this country honors Jamal Khashoggi. They put his board right in front of the Saudi embassy, right? You gotta love that, right? Don't you love this about
Yeah.
England and America?
Yeah, that's great. The freedom is there. It's a free world. There's a reason we call it a free world. But in the free world, being an American Pakistani, my next question to you would be, if you wanted to be the last question, I don't mind, but it's a tough one, mind you. I just like the cipher on the screen, you can see that I broke this story that I brought to light ISI internal documents which were leaked by my sources within the Pakistani military, which proves that the Pakistani fascist state is carrying out transnational repression on U.S. soil from its embassy in D.C. Now, what you can see over here is basically, and I challenged everyone that you can carry out a forensic audit of this document. This is a secret minute sheet of ISI, which basically proves that the ISI is carrying out transnational repression. And over the period of time, I've been able to talk to the people who are on this list. I've redacted their complete CNIC Pakistani numbers and the US passport numbers, but they're real people, all the 15 of them, and I've talked to them. Now, this is transnational repression being carried out on the US soil by the Pakistani state. Now, how come the US is allowing that to happen? That's the first question.
How is the US allowing this particular thing? Because you talked about 6 different things for which I need for, like, six
It's
different topics.
basically a question of transnational repression. Transnational repression, but the harassment of American Pakistanis on the U.S. soil by the Pakistani intelligence agencies. And I've got documentation to prove here.
So here a couple of things I'm going to tell you from, again, my experience, and as I said to you, I'm not as brave and not as strong and not as, like, influential as you are. I'm just a small little journalist dude trying to play his little role for his
You're a very
country,
senior
for his
journalist.
paper.
That's why you sit in White House,
So,
Pentagon, and the
so
State
I'll give you an
Office. So
example.
yeah,
I'll give you an
it's
example,
just
and
an
then you
honest.
can get. I'll give you an example, and then you get the answer. Okay?
All right.
According to one of my elder, and elder means, like, I trust, like, I trust his opinion and stuff. He was telling
Yeah.
me that Benazir Bhutto had sent Sardar Asif to meet when Hikmatyar was president. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They go, and then guess what? He's waiting there on the border, and guess what? Sardar Asif doesn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, these people who give you these papers and whatever, right? And that is one of the topics that you and I needed to discuss. But anyway, it was left behind, was, like, whoever has given this paper, I'm not doubting it, but I'm just telling you that within a country, a prime minister and a foreign minister are aware of meeting another country's prime minister. Okay? And they just, like, things happen. Okay? So this is the level of like the misunderstanding or the influence corridors or the international power corridors. So I am not surprised that the US, that's again, you're connecting it back to the same point. Do you think these things could lead to President Biden getting in trouble? Yes. The more they come out, yes, the more, if some US citizen takes this document to the court and says, hey, and if he could afford the lawyer fee, of course, because where you and I are sitting, lawyers are very expensive.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
So
and
anyway,
just like in
my question
Pakistan.
again revolves back, Jalil Saab, my question again revolves back to transnational repression. It's a question of transnational repression. How could it be allowed by any state?
It should not be allowed by any state, and
That's
any
simple.
state
That's the
which
only thing I'm
takes
asking.
action. Any take, not just that. Like what happens when they do it? Like that should be the next question. Like what happens? Who gets the
Yeah, these are very.
repercussions? Who gets punished? Who gets? How did it
It,
happen?
it backfired. It backfired. These are very powerful and very wealthy people they've targeted. It's backfired. They're not going to invest in Pakistan anymore. They are going to make it their life's mission to expose the Pakistani hypocrisy. It's practically backfired. And my sources are someone I've served with for 22 years, so I know them quite well.
Yeah, so that's
I
what
know
I'm
their
saying. That
intentions
like
as well.
that's what I'm saying. That if these people, these U.S. citizens, Pakistani U.S. citizens, if they even take something like this on a legal or on a political level to their Capitol Hill representatives, yes, they can take serious action. It's not a small thing. And if your
Mm.
documents are there, part of it, guess what? They're gonna prove
Mm.
it. They have to go check them. I mean, till whatever extent they can do, they can request, show them in private, show them this. That's different. They do those things to like an international arena to just get the. But yes, your documents will be part of it. Your documents are gonna come and say, hey, is this what happened? And if there
Mm.
and if the responsibility or if the finger is pointed at somebody, yes, their system is such that just a popular another example. I'm sorry I drag things from here and there. As you know, I suffered encephalitis, so my I talk too much. I take one issue to another. That's why even in the State Department, I write my questions, but I still jump here and there, right? So please forgive me for that. But I was going to tell you something, but anyway, I forgot it. So yes, something is going to happen. These people can do actions, and yes, they should not do this in other countries. And yes, it has social effects as well.
Mm.
Pakistanis here in the US, and I asked this to Kareen as well. I said, Kareen, is President Biden at all worried about the million plus Pakistanis in the US who are going to not be voting him now? Because most of the Pakistanis there in the US are Imran Khan supporters, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And like
yeah,
Modi was totally different. Modi doesn't care. Modi took Trump over there, did a nice big party for him in the stadium. And guess
yeah,
what? I don't know if President Biden is already there or not, but guess what? He's going to be there now and doing another party with him.
yeah.
So who gets to
That's true.
win in the end? Who gets to win in the end? The countries with better relations. If our rulers, if our military official, if our politicians, if our ministers don't realize this, guess what? You don't even have time anymore to joke around. I told you
Jalil
this
bhai,
joke.
very last
I've done.
question. What's Biden's problem with Imran Khan, Vase? What do you think?
Well, that's another question. I have no idea. Plus Imran Khan is a good-looking guy as well, so it could be multiple,
That's why
multiple
maybe.
things. It could be multiple things, my friend. I have no idea. Okay, but it could be the Salala bomb blast when the U.S. did some mistakenly shot this Pakistani military base, and after that Imran Khan had decided. It could be Imran Khan protecting, not protecting, always. Uh, Saying bad things about the US staying in Afghanistan. Well, guess what? We were writing since first day, since 2001, that okay, take your action here, destroy whoever you want to destroy, but don't stay here.
Hmm.
20 years, what did the US achieve? Except trillions of dollars of loans, and guess what? Leaving a country which is in, coming to the economic side, they are better than Pakistan right now. Okay, their value, the currency value, is 4 times than Pakistan currency value.
Yeah, one is a better off. Imagine that. So, yeah,
Four times, four times,
that's
four
really
times,
depressing, isn't it?
four
Yeah.
times, sir. Not one time, not 25%, not 50%, 400%. Okay. So you go to
Mm.
Selfridges or you go to Harrods, and imagine a shirt you are buying for $100, and buying something for $25. Okay, so this is how much the difference of economy is. A country which is in the hand of, like, I don't know, a temporary setup or whatever, they are doing better than Pakistan as far economy
You're
is.
very reluctant. You're very reluctant in exposing them. I would say very diplomatic, maybe. But we all know who is ruling Pakistan right now. Is kleptocracy the right word for it?
To be honest with you, I think it is a combination of, because I love food, so let me combine it with food.
All right.
I think it's the stupidity of cooking a dish. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when
Mm-hmm.
you are cooking something, any Pakistani dish, right, it requires certain masalas. You don't mix this
Like
thing with
like
that thing.
like Chursi chicken curry.
Oi, hoi, hoi. Please don't do that now. You're playing with emotions now. Okay, so
and,
don't do
and
that.
and you're trying to make it in a style of a shepherd's pie. Is that what you
Exactly.
say? Yeah.
So these guys
So
are
it's a
mixing.
hodgepodge setup. Yeah.
Yeah, they are mixing things in a very weird way. Like last week, for example, in Islamabad, like for me sitting in Washington D.C., these things worry me. Okay, like I don't enjoy them. Like, how can the this PTM guy, whatever his name is, he's from my area. We don't wear those hats. I don't know where did he get those hats from, and how did those hats get
Your sound is gone. After your call, Jalil Sab, your sound is gone. Yeah. Can't hear you now. Can't hear you. I think somebody call you in between. Can't hear you.
Sorry, sir.
Now,
This was the wife. My apologies. My apologies.
oh, the
When the
boss is
wife,
calling. You better
yeah,
take
the
this call.
boss.
The boss is
No,
calling.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I just requested her. I sent her a begging hands with like mercy and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But sir, before we got interrupted, what were the thing we were talking about?
So you were saying the
The
present
dish.
setup which is ruling Pakistan, the dish is the
And we were talking about this colorful hat that the PTM guy is wearing. And I was telling you that
yeah.
we don't have that in tribal areas. Okay, you have served in Peshawar. You were a former soldier. You have dealt with Pashtun tribals, all of them. We don't wear these hats, man. I don't know where did the guy, but he's standing there in Islamabad and saying things about my armed forces, that they're terrorists, and like, what gives him the right to do that? Okay, or even Dr. Sheena's Mazari's daughter. I don't know her. I don't know. I've met Dr. Saib a few times, but like, what gives her a right to say these things about my soldiers, my country's
Who
people who have
allowed them to come in? Who allowed them to come in Pakistan? In
exactly, and
Islamabad? Who allowed
exactly.
them to come in
You
Islamabad
are right.
and condemn
You are
us?
right.
Yeah.
You are right. You are right. But somebody is doing this adventurism, right? So what I'm
Yeah,
saying is,
because
this adventurism
Imran
days
Khan.
are over. This adventurism days are over, my friend. If you want to mess around, you want to play with this fire, or how Miss Clinton was used to say, if you want to continue raising these snacks in your home backyard, and hoping that they are not gonna bite you one day, listen. I think these things have gotten to the point where it should not be joked on. Things are a lot more serious and severe than what they are. I think it's beyond our journalism rank, digital ranking and this and that. It's about the survival of our country now, and we need to get serious about it, whether it is Mariam Nawaz Sahiba, or it is, General Asim Munir, or is it Chief Justice Saab. I request them, listen, the way our mothers are being treated, this is not part of our culture. This is not part of our religion. Please stop these things. Please stop these dramas. Your neighbor countries are 4 times higher than you, who are under 20 years of war and terror. And you guys are doing these dramas. And listen, if something, God forbid, happens, things will be very, very, very like, I'm not saying God forbid something, oh, Bangladesh, but I'm saying, why should I let 1,000 people die? Why should I let 15,000 people die? Why should I let any soul die? You know what I mean? If I can't provide a person with a single loaf of bread, why should I take away a loaf or a family member from somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? So
I
this
wish
is
the
the
people
whole.
in Rawalpindi understand that. So their way of thinking might be very different. It might be, what we call it expendables. The front row in they think like that's a problem. The democratic civilian leadership thinks like the way you are talking about. But if the leadership goes to the military junta, the way they think is that for them, among these many number of people out of the total population is just acceptable as a casualties in war, maybe where there is no war actually going on. You're fighting your own people. What kind of war is that? But when it comes to actual war, you're right now unfit for war. This is what we've analyzed. Anyway, that's a topic for some other day. How would you like
Rajaji,
to close the program?
I would like to close the program by giving you two suggestions. One, that Soldiers Speak should highlight soldiers' issues around the world. First of all, that.
All right.
Those nations who respect their soldiers, their veterans, their efforts should be highlighted. Arlington Cemetery here has 200 plus thousand soldiers buried there. 5,000 Muslims as well, by the way, okay? And every Christmas, 70,000 volunteers come to put flowers on their graves. 70,000. Nobody pays them. Nobody pays them. And guess what? Do you know what they fight over? Because they get very few flower bouquets. Because 70,000 means 3 bouquets a person, right? So the guy says, hey, listen, man, I didn't drive here 6 hours or 3 hours, man. You're giving me 3 bouquets. And they're fighting in a sweet way. They're not fighting in the crazy way. They're not like, they're just saying, hey, no, I want to do it. No, I want to do it. So do we want to treat our veterans that way? Or do we want to treat them like, for example, guy gets retired, has no other job, lives in a small house. Poor guy has not done any job, any business in life, so doesn't know about any AB of business. Soldiers should speak for whoever's country it is, without bias, without sharing any of those intelligence, blah, blah, blah things, just purely on the soldiers and technical. Yes, you discuss the war scenarios with pluses, minuses, but Soldiers Speak should go on international level with regard to soldiers' issues, with regard to soldiers' problems, with regard to their betterment of life. Do we have health insurance for our veterans in Pakistan? Do we have psychological insurance for our veterans in Pakistan? Do we have sports facility for them? Do we create jobs for their kids? You know what I'm saying? Try to do that, brother. Next, with that's.
Well, I am basically. I see the glass half full always, Jalil Bhai. I'm basically an optimist at heart, and that's why I'm doing whatsoever I'm doing.
No, what I'm saying, you have the capacity to take this Soldier Speaks on international level. Don't just get stuck on Pindi Wala. You know what I mean? Take it abroad to listen. We have other issues in other parts of the world, and they're very interesting as well for soldiers.
That's what we're doing. Well, after we won the battle at home front.
Last thing I want to say before I end this thing with you. Imran Khan's life should not be put in danger. I request the authorities through you, whoever likes you or dislikes you or makes stupid songs about you or don't make stupid songs about you or whatever. Listen, please, don't take things to such extent, don't take it and don't keep him in a place where you have loopholes for so many risks, No senior level guys are sitting there protecting Imran Khan, okay? It's just ordinary guys with ordinary knowledge, with ordinary experiences, Nowadays, people get killed with even a little puff of a smoke, Forget about food and bullets and guns and this and that. Just a small puff of a smoke can get you killed. And you have seen this in many places around the world. Let's not go there. Otherwise, we'll lose a lot more than what we are thinking about. This is my message to all the leaders to us in our country. And they know that I'm not that kind of a guy. I don't appear on people's shows. I'm a very down to earth and a very in my own world sort of a guy.
Yeah, Jalil bhai, our English programs respond surprisingly. We've got thousands of viewers watching us live in the English broadcast. As compared to the Urdu broadcast, I thought we'll be having a lot more. But we've got double the audience in our English broadcast, and they are in thousands right now. We are broadcasting live on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Rumble, and Odyssey. And we've got thousands of viewers just watching this live, and I'm sure it'll go into the millions of views within the next 24 to 48 hours. So I think we should make this English program every Monday a regular feature. What do you think?
I think so, brother. Listen, in my belief, the Frontier Post is my boring, serious baby. My fun baby is called Yum Yum News. I love to food, culture, this. Listen, we all humans are special in our own ways. I have only done English journalism, so that's why maybe it's doing better, or maybe because my readers are mostly, English guys and from different sectors in life, and maybe that's why it's doing well. I have no idea, brother. I'm just speaking my heart with you. I'm the one who asked you for this interview. I've never asked anybody. I wanted to convey a message to the leadership of my country. I wanted to extend my apologies to the mothers of our countries. And I wanted to tell you as a colleague journalist that, listen, our role is to a certain extent, and that's it, okay? Mali dakam buta lana te mashmash pani bharna hai. Malik dakam hai phal phul lave ya na lave. Let me translate this for my English, because I've been doing this since high school from my friends, okay? So what I said was that the job of the gardener is to just put the seed and to give it water on time or fertilizers on time. Whether that seed is going to give you something, a tree or a flower or fruit, that's not in our control. That is in our belief, at least in my belief. I don't know the viewers, is in the hands of my God, in the hand of my Allah. So you just do the job of the seed, my friend. If you can make a difference in one person's life, Raja, that's more than enough, my friend, okay? That's more than enough. You don't need to convince General Asim Munir or Sector Commander Islamabad or Sector Commander Karachi or Sector Commander... you have people sitting in Pentagon, you have people sitting in France, you're sitting in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, and this world is a much smaller and a much more tighter place. And you think over what I've said, and I hope we can do something positive together, not from monetary purpose, not from any other purpose. If I could do something for even the veterans of my country with the earnings that you do with my shows, I'll do the show with you. That will give me more encouragement. Because beside that, Rajaji, Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. I have 4 kids, went through 14 days of coma, 2 months of bedding. I don't have too many of... I'm very content with, so I'm not that publicity. I wanted to do these things purely as a Pakistani today with you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Jalil Afridi Saab. You came to our show and you agreed to make it. You requested for this show, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I just hope and wish that all the audience who are watching us in thousands, they would have enjoyed this show as much as we've enjoyed doing it. And if you want us to continue, and definitely you want us to continue, and we will continue this program format, but do let us know in your comments maybe, or in my email info@soldierspeak.org, if you would like us to continue in the Urdu and English format, or would you like us just to continue in the English format, because we've got double the audience in the English format. In fact, right now, let's just have the feedback before we close the program from the audience over here. What do you think? Should we continue this program in English, or both in English and Urdu? Today we have done an Urdu program before this, and then we have done the English program. I think our English program is much more useful, much more impactful than the Urdu program. But what do you think? Should we do both the programs, or should we do only English program? Please let me know in your comments. I will show your comments on the screen, and then I'm going to... Yeah, you're saying yes, English. You're saying mix. Fahim is saying mix. It's not mix, actually. It's the Urdu program was different. So, yeah, you're saying English, all right? Most people are saying English program is much better. I think we'll have a chat, me and but grassroots are in Urdu, you're saying. So you want both the program, right? That's really confusing right now. Should be both in English and Urdu, you guys are saying. All right, great subtle analysis by Jalil Saab. That's analysis. That's great subtle analysis by Jalil Saab. Yes, you guys should connect. Of course, definitely we're connecting. Do subtitles in Urdu. That I don't think would be possible with the present technology, because we don't have any set.
It's possible, sir. Don't you see the in Fox and CNN they have the typing under it popping out? So
But we don't have that resources of Fox and CNN right now. That's the problem.
Man, don't say that. Listen, power.
All right, and then if you can arrange the subtitles, and we don't speak by any script, then that's the problem.
That's still possible. Still possible.
Okay, then if it is possible, definitely we can do English program with Urdu subtitles. Mostly then Masoor Ahmad Khan Sahab is saying yes in English, you're saying. So English is much more liked, definitely. We will see you guys next Monday again at the same time. And by then we will sort out that if we're going to do both the programs, or first we'll do the Urdu program and then the English program or not. But in any case, inshallah, we will see you and see you soon. Take care of yourself, guys. Please, Mujhe or Jalil